Hello my fellow citizens, and welcome to another episode of Star Citizen FM, episode 27. My name is Dr. Hawk, and I'd like to welcome you as I walk through some of the community and news events happening for Cloud Imperium Games Star Citizen. So, without further ado, let's go over what I think is some pretty cool highlights. We have right off the bat, I actually missed something that I think I should address. During the live stream, a lot of fun stuff had happened, as I mentioned previously, shenanigans, crazy stuff, etc. And while that was fun, there was also good things shown, like the ship reveals, etc. There is one thing I forgot to show. Chris Roberts himself actually went through a Constellation walkthrough. How I forgot this, I have no idea. You can chalk it up as another mistake on Dr. Hawk's part, so for that, I apologize. It should be appearing now, but as mentioned, Chris Roberts actually decided to do a walkthrough of the Constellation, and for any of you that just changed your pants or do not want to soil your pants, well, you might have to look into fixing that. This video is both quite amazing and very impressive. One, for the fact that you get to see the Constellation, you get to see its inner workings, etc. But since this also takes place in their test level, you get a sneak peek of some of the other stuff too. It looks like a simple platform that, is built to just test out the ships and the cryo-engine, but we have Red Ship over there hiding. We have the Bengal carrier, which is pretty much dwarfing everyone else. Everything, rather. And yeah, so you take away from this what you will, and maybe the fact that the Constellation is a transformer. And I think you have yourself a pretty cool video, and I apologize for not covering this earlier. So you can check out that video in the description below, or on the RSI website itself. I think it's also in the forums as well. I'll have to double check. So that pretty much covers the news that I missed last week. I'd also, again, like to apologize. There's going to be another fairly short episode, mostly due for the fact that there's not a lot to go over. And before somebody jumps on me, there is a lot to go over, but not in terms of content. Because keep in mind, July 4th happened, so happy Independence Day to all of our American friends and citizens, as well as July 1st, which is Canada Day, so happy Canada Day to any Canadian citizens. Yay, I'm a Canadian land person myself. So there's been some holidays, and there won't be a lot of content, but they'll be getting back to work on Monday, and we can look forward to a lot more coming out, I bet. Regardless, there actually was a few interesting things that did come out. And later in the show, I do have a special interview with a community member that I think has a very admirable goal that you all should check out. But let's start with the 4 system unlocks that we've had over the past while. And actually, no, I think I should address first. Most of you already know that Star Citizen is well on its way to becoming one of the best AAA funded games in the world. One of these other things that are interesting to note is since the live stream, we've managed to raise up to $14 million. That's a lot of money. People say that Star Citizen is going to be optimally funded by the $20 million level. We are now $6 million away from that. And it was only 2 weeks ago that we were just breaking 10 million, and then got to 12 million, and now we're at 14 million. So hats off to the community. Welcome to our new Star Citizen members. It's a pleasure to have you. And who knows, maybe now we can see what we do with the next stretch goals, which is actually something I'll be addressing. So for the 15 million and 16 million stretch goals respectively, we now have an additional flying ship class, the escort carrier, and the upgrade handbook, which is a 42-page manual that'll help, us players walk through upgrading our ships, and it's actually going to be free to all backers before the $15 million mark. So if you want to get that, throw more money at them. That is the $15 million stretch goal. And then there's the $16 million stretch goal that actually has a few people happy. The arena mode, an area for players to test one another's skills without risking valuable items or hard-earned ships and experience. Place bets on competitions across the galaxy. And secondly, a laser pistol for every pledger before this point. Keep your ship safe from boarders with a pistol by your side. So there you go, citizens. You now have another goal to work towards. The previous goals that we unlocked, and actually the current unlock that we reached with 14 million, is the hibernation mode for explorers out there. We will add the ability to save and resume while you're out in space. When not in combat, power your ship down, hit the bunk, and exit the game safely until you can resume your journey. That sounds similar to Eve, except you don't want to log out in a bad spot. There will also be a professional quality feature length behind the scenes of Star Citizen, and a 4th land out option on Earth. Where will it be? London? Berlin? We don't know. So keep going, citizens. We have some pretty cool unlocks and pretty cool goals. But now, let us get back to the topic that I wanted to start, the system unlocks. So there's 4 system unlocks that came out recently, and I'm going to be going over them chronologically as they released. In order, we have Osiris, next we have Rila, then we have Hadur, and then Fora. From the description, I can already tell you that Osiris is likely to be a pirate hive, or if anything, a crime hub. A very small, developing little colony. It also has a black market biologics. I can't even say that properly. So I don't know exactly what kind of things that we can expect to see from Osiris, but given that the UEE doesn't actually have a high presence here, or at least from what I can tell, there might be a good place for Aquila if you want to store all your rum. Come on, Aquila, you want to store all the rum there on Osiris. Nobody will know. Next we have Rila, or rather the Source of Strength in Zan. This planet used to be a major staging area for the Zan military, but now has been ramped down to a rather just more industrial world. Electronics, heavy metals, industrial machinery, etc. And exporting outsourced weapons. Also has a low crime status rate, although there is a black market of weapons surplus. This might be a good place to go if you're trying to stock up on weapons to, I don't know, say repel borders. The next planet is actually another Zan planet. It's called Hadur. This system is unique in the sense that it is actually a combination of both Zan and human efforts, with the Zan wishing to purchase human labor as well as deliver goods that they make, etc. Sort of a, I don't know, it sounds almost like a mutual relationship between the two, with humans pretty much making all the weapons and stuff and happy things, and then the Zan making profit and paying top dollar for anything else they need. Sounds legit. And then finally on that note we have Fora, which right off the bat said, for lack of its better description, unknown pirate system in UEE space, the only of its kind. So there you go, Aquila and pirates of chat roll and everyone there. Now you have your own planet. Fora has 5 planets. Its import is luxury goods, food, and labor. Its export is silica. Its crime status is full. And its black market is narcotics and pleasure bots. I think citizens of Chatroll will fit very well here. So there you guys go. There's a quick rundown of the 4 systems that are unlocked. You can check them out in the CommLink or in the description below in my video if you'd like to check them out further. And now we can move on to another meaty thigh bone of interesting news for Star Citizens, the Star Citizen economy. So to start off with a bang, I'm actually going to let the man himself, Chris Roberts, who has an in-depth video on explaining how the economy works, explains how his vision of the Star Citizen economy works. After that, we will break it down.
The economy itself, first of all, in Star Citizen is completely dynamic. So the player's actions are going to be affecting the supply and demand and the prices. So a lot of the missions that are generated for players to take, or even AI to go and do, are created by the economy system itself. To give you an example, if you have a weapons factory sitting on a planet and it requires 3 tons of metal alloy and 1 ton of high explosive and 1 ton of electronics to create 20 missiles in a game turn, that factory will create a mission out on the mission boards, which we'll have like in a system, and that will propagate to other systems at sort of the speed of communication in the Star Citizen universe. And it will say, hey, look, I need 3 tons of steel alloy, 1 ton of high explosive, 1 ton of electronics, and who wants to take them? And so in that case, a player could look at the mission board and go, oh, look, there's a mission to take 3 tons. Okay, I'll take it, and fly in with the alloy. And if the player doesn't do it, an AI will take it and fly the stuff in. And along the way, if that player or the AI get attacked by a pirate and they don't make it through, then the goods aren't getting to the factory. The factory doesn't have the materials it needs to make the missiles, so it can't produce missiles that turn. Now, if people are buying missiles in that system, the inventory on the show floor will dwindle and they won't have any more missiles, which will mean the supply's low, so the demand's high. Prices will probably go up. Now, that factory will probably say, I have a pirate problem on my getting my raw materials, so it will create a mission with the Mercenaries Guild and says, I need you to go and clear out the pirates that are attacking this stuff, or I need you to be an escort ship escorting these alloys in. So that creates missions for mercenaries there. So players' actions as a pirate or as a trader could affect what's happening in the economy. The pirates could be strangling supply to planets, or other people could be blockading it, and then if supplies aren't getting through, that planet will be creating missions to get supplies or get people to open the blockade. So basically the economy itself is generating a lot of the action, and the missions are going on. And by the way, in that combat that you're having, like the pirate that is attacking the merchant ship, well, missiles are getting fired, ships are getting blown up. Well, that's demand on the economy side. So, that means that more missiles will have to be replenished, or a ship has to be replenished. So there's factory nodes on planets making the ships. And so it all is kind of balanced. Hopefully from that you can sort of see how the economy, and the fact that it's dynamic, is generating missions for other players, or generating missions for AI, is creating supply and demand and consumption and production.
Now, if you ask me, I think this is actually a very cool idea. I'm going to, and forgive me here, reference Eve as another example, as they've done something similar. There's NPCs that'll run to and fro and transport goods, and players transport a lot of the in-game commodity items that are needed to make that universe go. It's a real living, breathing economy. And it sounds almost, mind you, identical to what Chris Roberts wants to try to achieve with Star Citizen. The benefit that I see here is that since the NPCs can take over while the players are away or sleeping, whatever, that'll keep the game flowing. So you don't come back and find that the world has just collapsed because nobody's been doing any work. You could have one pirate guild who's, I know, will be dedicated and working their way to destroying everything. There will be mercenaries that will need to be hired to protect from those pirates. At the same time, there will be the actual factories, as he mentioned, shipping goods to and fro to make whatever goods are needed, be it ships, weapons, pleasure bots. I don't think that's going to get out of my head. Or any other goods that are needed in the immediate time. It's this node system that'll keep the universe a living, breathing entity. And the nodes themselves are also described in the CommLink for further description if anybody would like to look into them. The basics of them run down that there are at least several different parts. There's the node inputs, which represent the input capacity of what kind of materials are needed for that factory or that place to make their product. There's the node storage, so if there's too much or too little, the prices will either go up or down reflectively. And then there's the outputs. What are they making? Their production cycle, the morale, the equipment percentage, how big the facility is. All these different factors will come down to affect what the factory makes, what goods we receive, and how it affects the economy. They even have a little mathematical formula. P equals M times E times MC. To reiterate, production per cycle is equal by material coefficient, the minimum percentage available of all required construction units, the equipment percentage, the size of the facility, quality of equipment, and max quality, and the worker morale, number of workers, required workers, and morale percentage. That determines what and how much is made by each facility and how efficiently. And I can pretty much guess that as pirates, merchants, and manufacturers work together, those will go up and down respectively. There's also different types of nodes, so to speak, each affecting the different kinds of needs and products that are produced. Training, a node type, needs workers, ships, parts, and construction materials. However, it will produce pilots, marines, and soldiers. A good example would be a boot camp on MacArthur or Killen. You could have another kind of node like refining, which needs workers, machinery, and raw resources. However, produces refined resources. Examples such as steel mills, water purification plants, or a sawmill. And then we can even work down to the simplest of nodes, entertainment, which needs money, contraband, and luxuries, but produces morale for your workers. Examples, maybe a legal or legal casino, or a jeweler. Although I'm pretty sure most people will want the illegal casino. These all eventually come together to form a production chain, which can be described as such. For example, trying to build a laser cannon. Looking here, you can see that we need two basic things at the bottom, hydrocarbons and ore. The hydrocarbons get worked into polymers, magnetics, and optics, which become laser cores. The ore is worked into metals and minerals, which create circuits and processors. Those processors are then refined into industrial electronics, along with the circuits. And then when you finally have industrial electronics and your laser cores, you have a laser cannon. Keep in mind that at every stage of the process, from yellow to orange to blue to dark blue to cyan and finally to sage, we have a unique process that requires player or NPC interaction at every stage. Players will need to mine and find hydrocarbons to make the metals and minerals. Factories would likely have to refine the ore and hydrocarbons to make the metals and minerals. Traders will have to take these metals and minerals to refine them into circuits, optics, magnetics, polymers, etc. I could keep going on, but as it's seen here, it's right there in front of you. It's a really easy to follow route. It's understandable, and it makes the citizen world go around. And as I mentioned previously, this is something that I find very similar to Eve's mechanic, starting from rocks to lasers. Another even interesting note is that eventually players could even, buy these facilities and operate them themselves. You wouldn't have to just ship them yourself to the facility and have them do it for you. If you make enough money, have enough friends, or are just that awesome, you could acquire your own industrial facilities, you can acquire your own trade routes, establish your own networks, etc. The only issue might be is that if you're too aggressive, you might have large corporations that might not like your competition. But that's for you to decide, as I really don't care about the politics of corporations. I would likely be a mercenary, shooting for you guys and keeping Aquila off your guys' back. Or maybe joining them if they offered me something, like rum. So you can check out the Star Citizen economy explanation in the CommLink in the description below this video, and you can start planning how to make your industrial empire. So that wraps up everything I had planned to talk about for pretty much this episode, and as I mentioned earlier, I have a little interview lined up, so without further ado, let us move on to that. And hello everyone. As I mentioned previously, I had an interview lined up for you guys. I know usually I like to have an interview lined up for you guys. In the past while I've kind of failed to deliver on that note, mostly due to work, life, etc. But as of recently, I found out that there is an opportunity to highlight what I think is an important community action. I'd like to introduce you guys to Storm Tiger and his Star Citizen community competition.
Hello, how's it going? How you guys doing today?
Well, I'm doing good. I know you said something about your AC breaking, so I think you'd be worse off than I am.
Well, yeah, it's in Minnesota. It's a little warm. It's 90 degrees, about 60% humidity right now, which is a tad warm for us, but we'll get through it. It's nothing you can't survive.
Hey, it was pretty much 45 degrees Celsius when I was down in Austin. I think they'd have something to say about that.
Well, yeah, but in Minnesota it gets cold enough that 45-degree weather we wear shorts, so that's okay.
All right, fair enough. So I was wondering if you could maybe walk me through the little competition you had here. It was brought attention to me both by yourself and a few other people, and given how I think community, bringing the community closer together is an important goal, especially with a game like this. You want to walk us through it and tell us what you got here?
No problem. Actually, I appreciate the time to do this. This is just basically a simple competition, and it's a creative competition where I've had a person write a song that was actually very impressive. I've had people submit ASCII art. I've had them submit poems. Oh, there's a lot of poems. There's drawings. There's everything. Anything creative. Anything that can kind of catch your eye. Anything that's unique. There's three prizes. I can't talk today. So the first place prize would be a Hornet or a Freelancer, choice of the winner. The second place prize is either a 315P or a 325 Alpha, which is, again, the user's choice. And then the third place prize will be something like a bunch of add-ons or the physical add-on stuff. It's up to $35. And I'm kind of working on some of the prizes to make sure they're balanced out, so that might change a little bit. But it'll be any of the digital download or physical stuff I would send off to the winner.
Alright, that's actually a very cool idea. So just sort of, is this something that you'd have planned to happen more in the future, or is this kind of a one-off thing that you thought of?
You know, I really thought about, sorry, I had to adjust my headset there. I really thought that this was going to be a one-off, but I really like the response I've gotten so far. I mean, there's some people out there that are incredibly talented. I've gone into chat roll and had people comment on the fact that there are some really good entries out there and there's really good competition. So this is something that I think that for the good cause, I mean, everyone wins. The people who don't enter, the game's getting extra, I think it's $250 that I'm going towards this or something like that. And the winners get a free vehicle, whatever. So I think it's a win-win all around.
Fair enough. So what kind of response have you seen though? You said positive, but like what exactly are we looking at?
It's I think I've got like 2 pages in the thread so far, and there's anything from short stories to artwork, and like I said, and it's absolutely amazing. I can't believe what we've gotten, and I'm hoping to get more people too. So thank you for getting the word out.
Well, no problem. So what kind of examples though would we have here? Like, do you have anything you could read off, or is there anything that's caught your eye?
Well, technically, I was thinking about that, and I'm a little tempted to not do my own just because I don't want to sway the competition thinking that I'm that. But that's
actually a very good idea. Actually, I should respect that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there is so many things that have come across here, and this is what I've been told. There's no limit to entries. So if you have a down day you enter and you don't like it, you can make another entry later on. But I've seen anything from, like I said, ASCII art, where it's one of those Kirby's flipping a table.
Oh.
I've seen an actual meme poster of Star Citizen logo. There's a ton of stories. And the funny thing is that this whole real, and I guess I missed this part, so I apologize for that, but the whole real purpose of this competition is to remember how you felt when you first really got hit by the awestruck of Star Citizen. And there's backstories for characters that people are going to play in this game, and it's absolutely amazing what Chris Roberts has created, because I only did a competition. The actual game has inspired an incredible response.
Right. So what exactly is the deadline for something like this? Like, how long do people have if they want to try to submit something to your thread?
Well, it would be the deadline for entries is the 21st, and that will be based on U.S. days. I know we've got some EU guys that will be up during the night, so they're wondering what day is exactly the day. Well, I'm in Central Time, so it'll be July 21st at midnight CST, which is GMT -6.
Okay. Any other details you wanted to give out for applicants out there?
Actually, I say just kind of immerse yourself in Star Citizen for like 20-30 minutes before you get an entry, and then just go nuts, whatever you want to do, because I've seen some things that would otherwise, in a lot of contests, wouldn't work, but because they're so funny or so, straight up serious or intense, they actually do matter. And the only other thing is if you don't want to enter the competition, I am still looking for 2 judges. If you have a spare ship and you want to offer that for the contest, I will have you be a judge and you can pick your own winner. I'm just trying to up the contest as much as I can and get as much involvement in the community, because I actually feel like this is the first game I've had where there is a solid community for one goal.
So you mean sort of like maybe not just first, second place, but most funny, most serious,
Exactly.
dramatic, etc.
Yep. I mean, I know, and we've all heard the stories. Rad has got 59 ships or less. He did. I mean, he's a legend already just because of that. I mean, there are people that are getting ships just to give them away. If they want to jump in, I will be more than willing to allow that. Or they can put their own stipulation on it. Maybe they want something specific, and I would totally allow that too, just to get the community involved.
All right. Well, I think this is a very good community goal. It's actually been a pleasure having you here. And if anyone is interested in checking us out, you can look for I can't even speak today. Storm Tiger's Star Citizen community competition. So I'd like to actually thank you very much for being here, Tiger, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. In fact, maybe bring you on after the winners have been announced and we can break it down.
That would be amazing, and I appreciate you having me here, because this is going to be the way to get the word out the fastest.
Alright, Star Citizens, I hope you've enjoyed the show today. As always, click the fuzzy little hawk on the lower left corner if you want to subscribe, like or favorite the video if you liked it, and leave constructive feedback if you found anything to be an issue. Until next time, I'll see you guys all on Star Citizen FM. Take care and fly safe.